Got it.
Okay. So hi everybody. I am in this video, even though most of you know me as Zuby, I'm going to go by Teresa because I'm talking to my sister, who's also a Zuby. And we are going to talk about losing our brother Eric, who passed away February 16th. Um, and we don't have an agenda. We talked about a couple things like loosely planned, but I really just wanted it to be free flow. Anyway, I am Teresa. I'm the oldest. So I'll let Michelle introduce herself, but I guess I'll kind of go through everybody. It's the way I always explain it to people is when I was 10, um, Eric was 8 and Jacqueline was 2, almost 3, 3.
Mhm.
Okay. And then Michelle was born. So we're 10 years apart, Michelle and I, and then everybody else kind of falls in between. So I'm the eldest, and Jacqueline is in Australia, and she's a non-social media chick. So, which is all good. But and yeah, yeah. Okay, so then Michelle, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm the youngest, and I also have 4 kids of my own that were all born within 10 years. So my mom had 4 kids within 10 years, and my 4 kids were within 10 years. But yeah, I grew up the baby, and Teresa and Eric were the oldest.
Oh no, I lost your sound again. Hold on. It'll come back. There we go. I think you're back. Can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
Oh, good. Sorry.
That might happen. Okay, so you have 4 kids. I never thought about that. That like
Yeah,
they're 10 years apart also.
yeah, just like us. So,
Yeah, that's funny.
being the baby was fun,
Yeah.
well protected.
Pretty much. Too
Yeah,
much, maybe.
a little.
Hold on, I'm just looking over here. Okay. So yeah, and if at any point, if anybody has any questions, then feel free to post them down below. But if not, that's fine as well. So, okay, disclaimers first. I wanted to do some disclaimers. And Michelle, if you think anything, let me know. This is our experience. It's our singular experience, but there are probably some things that other people might relate to. Um, Eric, it was young, 44. It was very, very unexpected. Not all sibling losses are that way. And I think those are the most important ones, like there's just a different, that's our flavor, I guess. He was young and it was really unexpected. Is there anything you can think of?
No, no, I think like we talked about, just, sometimes generations of
Hmm.
people look at things a lot different. We like to talk about it. We
Hmm.
like to hear about it. We like to, people to come up to us and talk about Eric. And some people don't. So, right. It's just different experiences and I guess different people.
Yeah. All right. So, can you hear me okay? I realized I didn't. Okay. So I think probably what we'll do first is that day. Um, and you got there first. Well, not first, but you got there before I did. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, I mean, that whole experience is just something that is, I don't know that I want to go through every moment of
yeah.
that, but I just got a phone call to get to his house. I didn't know anything. It sounded frantic, but you just don't know. There's not anything that you expected. So, I'm sure. I mean, I can get through this. Like I thought maybe it was dad, and our dad has had some heart troubles, and I'm just kind of like screaming my whole way there, and he's a 2-minute drive down the street. So, um, And when I got there and I saw the cop car, I was just like, this isn't, this isn't right. Like, there's no way the cop would come to Eric's to tell us about dad in North Carolina. And I was on the phone with mom previously, so like I knew it wasn't mom. Um, but yeah, I mean, when I walked in and the cop turned around, I just knew, you just know, and it just brings you to your knees. I mean, I can't even like any other way to explain it. Your body goes numb, completely numb, and I don't even remember what I was saying really. Um, I remember just being on my knees on the floor and my glasses were thrown. I don't even know where they were. And, my mom and my sister-in-law were there and the cop. Um, yeah, it was just, I remember trying to call my husband. He didn't understand what I was saying. And I was just like, he came home first because, I just kind of hung up on him and then he made his way to my brother's house. And it's just so mind boggling, and something that in previous years I could have never imagined. And like I said to Teresa, like I read an article recently that was like, your brain actually doesn't let you imagine, like before you've lost somebody this close, and this, we've lost our grandparents and things like that, but before you lose somebody in your immediate family like this, your brain function literally doesn't let you imagine that kind of trauma to your body. And your whole body goes into just manic mode really. Like I just remember laying on the floor, laying on the ground. And one thing specifically I'll remember is my husband saying a couple weeks later, like it took me 3 or 4 washes in the laundry to clean those pants that you had on. And like that's just something that stuck with me, because it's like, no, that's how that day went, and that's how it was. But and I was so that was the day. I mean, there's lots more I could say about it, lots more that happened, and getting the phone calls from then my dad, who was in North Carolina, and then talking to Teresa, who was in Texas, and then talking to Jacqueline, who was in Australia. Like, you want so badly just to hug them, because like those are your people. Those are the people who know exactly. And mom was here, of course, but and his wife and kids, of course, but those are your people who were your lifelong people that you wanted close. And you just don't know in that moment, like, are they all gonna make it? You're almost just holding your breath, like Teresa's on the plane to come, dad's driving, Jacqueline's coming all the way around the whole entire world, and you're just holding your breath until you guys got there.
Yeah, till everybody gets there. I remember that pretty vivid.
And I remember you saying, you were like, I'm trying to let it all out, and when I get there, like I'm taking on Eric's, I'm gonna try to be very stoic and like hold it together. And that didn't happen.
No.
But yeah.
Your sound again. I don't know what. It's fine, Michelle. Can you hear me? Your sound. Wait. Your sound. I don't know if other.
Oh, can you hear me?
There it is. I don't know why it's doing that. That's really weird.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. We're just fucking talking.
I had to pick up little Stan from the bus stop, and I didn't know how I was going to do that. How you make it through those moments of telling, your own kids, let alone his kids, being, I was there when his kids found out. And it's just something that, you could never imagine, but it's like frozen in my brain and forever. There's like moments of, sitting on his front steps, waiting for the kids to come home from school, thinking like, oh my gosh, like we're different people from here on out, and our whole entire world is just about to change. This is pretty mind blowing. So
I was trying to remember. I don't think I talked to you the day that it happened. I don't think I talked to you or mom, because didn't know what to say.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we talked about that. So
yeah, like I feel I just needed to get there. And so for me, that day, Zeke had just gotten down to Texas the night before, for our wedding. And so his phone rang, and I'll never, like, I know this is like, I know that this wasn't my fault, but this is actually what happened. And I feel guilty about it sometimes because Zeke, what, what I didn't know was that dad called Zeke and to make sure that I wasn't alone. And I heard Zeke like answer the phone, and he was like, hey, oh, what's going on? And he then all of a sudden he started going, oh my God, oh my God, hi Kitty. Oh my God. And I walked out with a fucking toothbrush hanging out of my mouth. And I look at Zeke and I go, God, who died? And he
no,
said,
it's
uh, like Zeke just looked at me and he was like, your dad wants to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, I thought it was mom. So I thought it was mom. Like, and when I talked to dad, like when he told me what happened, it was literally when people say they fall to their knees, and what you said about the brain makes so much sense, because it was like I literally like collapsed. I've never fainted or anything like that, and I just collapsed, and like the scream that came out, I don't even know. It didn't sound human. Like it was just the weirdest thing. And then being in Texas, kind of, being so far away, I wanted to get in my car, but that was unreasonable because I knew that by the time you can't drive 28 hours straight,
yeah,
So
yeah.
I knew that by the time I got there, it would, anyway. And then I reached out to my ex, and because I had to tell the kids, and that was, all a challenge. But I remember Zeke being like, well, we have to eat something. And I was like, I'm not hungry, I'll go with you. And I was, my way is like to kind of joke when things hurt, like oh, okay, my brother died, I'm gonna go get some fucking tacos, like but it was almost like my brain, like I needed to practice saying it, because if I didn't say it out loud, I wasn't putting together what was actually happening. um and then another thing is, when I'm processing something, like I need to look in somebody's face, you know what I mean? So part of the reason that I didn't want to call you guys was because I had actually texted you, remember?
I
And
do.
Michelle and I are like practically we're like, hey, let's share money. So we like transfer
Yeah,
each other money all the time.
we
And
do.
it was something like that. And that's why dad called me, because he said, you had reached out to Michelle and she didn't get back to you. And so it was I kept going back like, oh my God, I can't believe I was texting her about something like that. And like knowing now after what was going on, you just, whatever, time and space,
No,
like
you do.
wah,
You really
wah,
do. Yeah.
like what,
I had like a few people calling me, and I think I'll like never forget who they were, because I remember like looking at my phone and thinking like they have no idea that this is happening right now, and I'm not going to answer it because I can't. But yeah, it is. It's really really mind blowing. That and then I had one friend who I was on my lunch break, so I was talking to her on the phone. I was dropping off her son's present to their house on my lunch break. And I was like, yeah, Joe's like his present will be out front. And and then I got the phone call and, went to Eric's house. And like this is also something that I find important. I don't know if you're done with the
yeah,
whole
no,
dance.
we're going back and forth. It's
Yeah,
fine.
but like I live in a small town, Teresa doesn't live here, but she lived here. We live in like a small two towns with all the friends right here. And I almost found the word of mouth okay for me. Like some people don't like that. Some people would want to like tell people themselves. And I couldn't. I couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't even voice it. I couldn't, my best friends either found out from through the grapevine that day. And I remember just that saying, like, no, that couldn't have just happened. I was just on the phone with Michelle, you know? Um, and it did. It's crazy how time works. But yeah, like that chain for me was a good thing. And then I even posted it on social media, and some people aren't okay with that. But the next day I posted it because that was my easiest way to tell people without telling people. Because other best friends, I couldn't even, you know, friends who hadn't heard through the grapevine, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I needed them to just read it and reach out to me, and I'll get back to you when I can. And I still love them, and they're still my best friends, and I even apologize for it. I know I've said to a few friends, like, I'm so sorry that you found out on Facebook, you know, and like we're good friends, and I've had them all say, like, stop, that is not something that you have to apologize for. But you do, because if somebody's never been in this situation, you don't realize how numb someone's mind, body, brain can be, and how you can't talk about it. You know, people called me for days and I didn't answer the phone. And
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
I appreciate
give anybody a literal pass for like whatever. I mean, there are probably people like, I got so many messages. And the thing is I appreciated all of them. I tried to like heart it. Do you know what I mean? Like, cause Facebook and all that, but there were some that I'm just sure got lost in the fray. And it doesn't mean I did take the time to read it, you know, and that meant something to me. With me, I feel like that's a no harm, no foul. Do you know what I'm saying? But if you ever reach out to someone in a situation like that and don't hear back right away, don't take it personal. I mean, it is literally, and there's a lot of shit to do. Like, I can't believe you go through this huge traumatic thing and then you're putting together picture boards. I'm sorry, there's a story. There's a story of, you know, that's it. But I mean, there really is a massive amount of shit to do. And so you're just going through a lot of emotions, and at least in my experience, it was a lot.
I also didn't eat for like, and I remember everybody trying to force me to eat. And you have to eat, and I mean, I made it. I didn't eat probably for a week, and that, you know, my kids all ate. So like, the one thing that really helped me out here is I had a lot of friends that brought over like groceries and dinners, and you know, that was super helpful. Because when you like, I've had a picture of me, Teresa. Tree, you're frozen. Am I frozen?
Yeah, that's okay. I can hear you though.
Okay. Me, Teresa, and Eric's wife, like, you almost have like an outer body experience of us like walking through Lidl, the grocery store, when it was only like 5, maybe a week after he died. And like, you know, you're almost looking at these three like broken women, like having this out of body experience. And, you know, there's like grievers out there. And now whenever I'm in a grocery store, and I also like when I hear people being Karens and stuff. Stop. Like, you just never know what these people are going through, and one of these people could have just lost their son. One of these people could have just lost a brother or a parent. And, you know, it's just so sad to think about that. Like, I'm just more aware of it now, I think. And, you know, just to be kinder in life, you know, and not to strangers, just because literally everyone is going through something. And, you know, to know how grief feels is really overwhelming.
Well, and that's where I think maybe this is kind of valuable, you know, because I think you do learn from somebody's experience. But like what you said about people, I remember when Cora was a baby and she started crying and the table next to us got up and left. Somebody could have been like offended by that, you know. She wasn't crying loud or anything, but I thought I saw like tears in the lady's eyes. And from having miscarriages, I was like, ooh, you know what I mean? I felt,
you're like more aware.
Like it was something like that. Like, you just, God, people are, I don't know. It doesn't.
No, I think like your life experiences definitely shape all of that. But I just don't know how people who have like gone through this can just walk around miserable. You know, I mean, not. I mean, it's easy for us to walk around miserable because
Yeah.
we we lost our brother, and it's easy to say, my mom and dad and sister-in-law and sisters and everything can be miserable, but it's almost just like, gosh, what are we here for? But to, I don't know, I'm going another direction, but to be
You're
kind,
fine.
you know, to be kind to people and to know that everybody's fighting a battle, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, and I think I'm frozen again. I don't know what's going on with it, but I think the one thing that surprised us both that we both did is what I wrote in that status, that we had both gone back in our minds and been like, every person we remember that had lost a sibling. I remember like, God, I
Mhm.
didn't even know. I didn't
Yeah,
even fucking know,
yeah,
and I'm sure I said something like, I couldn't imagine. And that's
yeah.
because I literally couldn't, like, I literally couldn't
Because your
imagine.
brain didn't allow you to imagine.
No.
But no, that's like the days following was like, and then weeks. And I mean, people on my Facebook probably even know. Like, I reached out to people who had lost their siblings, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But like now I know what you went through, and now it's even more. I'm more aware, and I realize how you felt, and you feel those feelings, and I'm sorry that you went through that at such a young age, and it's just
Yeah.
it's really
And that I wasn't, attentive enough,
as
or
yeah, yeah, but
or realized how profound it was. And uh, um, I think another thing too that might be unique to being a sibling is that in my head, for some reason, my age was 10. I went back to being like 10 to 12 years old again. It like, me, I do my shadow work, but I like, there were like little ornery things and little, that would kind of go through my mind, but I felt like a little kid in a lot of ways, because I was going back to all of our growing up memories, and maybe that's because I didn't live close or whatever, but I don't know. I feel, and just looking at mom and dad, like, I felt like a little kid who saw
yeah,
my parents cry and didn't know how to make them feel better. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um,
and I have to say, I think that is, you know, and we've talked about this too, but like that's, seeing your mom and dad's worst fears in
yeah,
life, seeing
come true.
anybody's worst fear in life happening, because anybody's worst fear is to lose your child,
Yeah.
and it should never happen. And to see that is, and to watch them go through that, and to hear like that they'll never say, and this isn't, anything of their fault or anything, but that their life is good ever
Mm,
again, because it's just like they're not complete, and I get that, I get it, I can't imagine, and I can't,
right.
I still can't, we lost our brother, but we can't imagine what they're going through.
Yeah.
So
And it was like seeing each other for, so one of the things that I remember is oh, and you were talking about social media, and that's just the nature of what it
yeah,
is now. And in a way it's good, because there was an outpouring of just love and support, and I felt every fucking ounce of it.
hmm,
And I was appreciative for it. I think the hard part is I don't know if it was like the middle of the night for Jacqueline in Australia or what. And so the fear was kind of that
she would,
she would hear from somebody else,
yeah,
before we had mom, or they had a chance to call her. But that's kind of the thing about social media, is that you want family to not, oh God, I can't even imagine oh my God, like, because really
no,
conceivably it could have happened, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Where
no,
I
I mean,
saw something on Facebook and didn't know yet, but um and then I had talked to Carrie and I asked her too. I posted something the night before. Do you
I
remember?
remember.
Just
So if you're
because,
if you're not like friends with you and me, it didn't show
right.
up.
It doesn't
Right.
show
So like
up.
my friends didn't see that, but right, you posted something because Carrie
Yeah.
told you that night, because It was
because so many
frustrating.
people were reaching out and we didn't want them, but I couldn't get back to anybody. I mean, I
No.
really couldn't,
No.
and you were talking about things that were helpful. I remember, I had money just show up on my Venmo, and like food for me didn't really make sense because I was flying out there, but
Mhm.
flying 4 people at the last minute um to New Jersey was something, so that like blew my mind.
Yeah.
But it was really sweet, really, like anything anybody did like that didn't require anything in return, like my company or a message. I had a lot of people who would message me, um, like just a heart,
Yeah.
or
I was
thinking
just
of
gonna say
you,
that.
or no need to get back, or you know what I mean? Like, even if I had to, like, I just discovered that tap tap heart thing
Yeah.
and even if it wasn't for that, like even holding my finger down and going to the heart would have been just too much.
Too
Anyway,
much.
um, and
No,
then
no, I feel the same. I mean, and the flowers and the groceries and every little thing that anybody did
mm,
was absolutely appreciated.
yeah,
And even now, I still have friends. One from high school that even I don't see much, but she'll send me a heart here and there and just say, "I'm always thinking about you," and that just makes you feel like, you know, that that you're like allowed to be sad, like because
mm,
you almost feel like people might think, okay, it's been 5 months now, maybe
mhm.
I shouldn't say anything because I then I'll bring it up to her. Like, no, no,
Right.
no. Every second of every day, it's on my mind.
Uh-huh.
So you bringing it up to me is validating that it means something to me.
Still.
It's even if I do cry, some of the people at work, they might have given me a hug and they might not have wanted to because then I cried, but that's okay.
Mhm.
I happy to get a hug and happy to cry because I'm going to cry whether it's by myself, whether it's
Right.
in a hug from someone special or in a hug from a stranger. I'm still going to cry all places, really. I
Well,
found
and
cry in the car alone a lot. So, and I almost thought like had one of those like out of body experiences, like just looking at myself in the car. I mean, I'd say for at least a month, every time or two, every time I was alone in the car, I was like, just bawling. Because then your song comes on, and every song now is related to,
Eric,
to
all your
Eric.
damn songs.
Yeah, and at first I was like, it's a coincidence because Justin Bieber Ghost just came out.
Uh,
It's just a coincidence, but like then as time kept going, I was like, no, it's Eric. He's
yeah.
showing me. I need to, keep the signs coming and um, you know, go with it. So
And and that's something useful for, I mean, if anybody has lost a sibling or anything like that. I'm like confession, like whatever transparency, I do like tarot and astrology. So I always have been looking for signs for like the past 5 years. And so any like a number or an animal or a phrase or anything like that, that's how um, I believe that they communicate with us, and we can tend to like write it off as a coincidence. But one of my favorites, this might be kind of a fun one to share. And then the cake thing for the funeral, like, um, but so afterwards I had Kayla, Eric's daughter, and Cora, my daughter, in the car, and we were going to Dunkin' Donuts. I made him go to Dunkin' Donuts because I like it better than Starbucks. Anyway, Eric must not have been used to going to Dunkin' Donuts, that second rate coffee. But
yeah,
so I went to pull in, and it was a left turn. And I pulled into the gas station that was the wrong entry, but it's a really busy road. So when I pulled in there, Kayla kind of started to giggle, and I was like, dude, I can't believe I just did that. And she's like, my dad just did that. Like, and I was like, no way. And then I said, well, we're not going back out and making a left here. So I'm just going to park here. And she goes, My dad did that too. And when I pulled up into the parking spot, she's like, my dad parked here. And, the way that I feel about spirituality and when people pass, that it's kind of like just a prompt, because I could almost hear my voice in my head going like, fuck it, just like park here. And then there's a spot right there. So maybe that's him. I don't know how it works, but I told Kayla, I was like, it makes me feel like he's here,
Yeah.
Anyway. And then, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm like,
Yeah,
don't
like
get mad, Michelle. It's all good. This is a family deal.
oh my gosh.
But yeah,
Thanks, Sam.
like taking
yeah,
note of those things. But the picture one for the
Oh.
good. I think Michelle and I are the storytellers. So
Well, we are, yeah.
Yeah.
But we went through, mom and dad's like thousands of pictures. Like mom has boxes of pictures underneath her bed. And so it was kind of like the task of Teresa, Jacqueline, and I to do the kids' posters, because I can't imagine mom and dad, and Carrie and Kayla and Brennan, they had like, the newer posters for like the newer pictures. And so all of us had went through these pictures. We made piles of ones that Eric was in, and then we made piles of just him, and then we made piles of like, maybe this wasn't quite a Kodak moment, but it's a memorable one, like let's put that one here. And then we went through them again. Teresa, Jacqueline, Michelle, all of us.
So like 4 times we went through all the pictures to make sure we got all the good ones.
Yeah. And, we also were very mindful. And I mean, I think it was appreciated of like getting a lot of our cousins in there, and a lot of his like childhood friends, and, people that were important to him at that time in life as well. I mean, of course they were still important, but you know what I mean? And yes, so then we're standing in my dining room, and I'm taping all the backs of the pictures because they were all good pictures, because they were all ready to go on the boards. And I'm just taping the whole backs, and Teresa.
We were like crying. I mean,
we were, and she turns one over and she's like, puts it on.
I stuck it to the board.
And it was like a broken chocolate cake.
It was a horrible chocolate cake I had made when I first moved to Colorado, because the altitude, you have to do it different anyway. And so it was like lumpy. I mean, and I thought this cake was so funny that I took a picture and brought the film into the store to have it developed and printed. And like, how did... So Michelle,
anyway, it might not even be that funny, but like it's just this like shitty brown cake, and we did think it was so funny, and we were really going with it, and we were like, man, Eric is really laughing.
He is, like, he put that picture there.
he put that picture there to make us laugh. We couldn't stop crying, so as we're putting the pictures on, and that was a funny one.
Moments like that. Which like, okay, so goes to the one thing I want to make sure that we say about the funeral is that it meant a lot to us when people could go.
I was just going to say, don't ever question. And now I, when people in high school, their mom or dad died or something, I would think in my head, oh, I'm not close with them anymore. Are they going to think it's weird if I go? No, they're not. They're going to appreciate it. Anybody who came, I was like, wow, that really means a lot. And if you couldn't come, please, everybody.
Of course. Like, I got some messages also, and that meant a lot too. But like on that day specifically, it meant a lot to like see people, even people who I don't think I had this because we went to high school together, but people would show up that didn't know, what I mean, him. It meant a lot to us. And then afterwards, just going through and being like, talking about the people that were there and all of that. So never question, even if you don't know the person that died, even if it's been a while since you've seen the person, who you like, or if you were friends or whatever, I would say like never, don't question. Like, unless you had some major bullshit, it's probably not a good time to be like making amends or whatever, but you know, you haven't really like screwed up your relationship with somebody. Anyway,
Yeah.
so it did, it meant a lot.
Yeah.
And then, yeah,
Because
Jacqueline, Michelle and I were in line at the funeral, and you guys, like, we were laughing, we were telling stories, and part of me was kind of like, God, I hope, you know, nobody thinks that I'm callous or cold-hearted, but it was a fucking unbearable day. Like, you know, and I can't even imagine like Carrie and the kids, you know,
mom and dad.
and I think that, I don't know. I mean, you know, it was kind of, I think as the siblings wanted to focus on them, you
Yeah.
know, and so, uh, yeah, we're a comic relief kind of family, I think. And so that was just our way of, but anyway, it's like,
Our
if
way
anybody
of
was there and saw,
yeah. We I do remember saying like I had never been in that receiving line,
Mhm,
you know, never wanted to, but never been in that. And
mhm.
I am it you know, it gives me a little bit of peace knowing that Eric never had to do that.
I
You know,
know.
he was never in that line. He never had to deal with this heartache, and that's a terrible. You know, it's terrible. He should still be here, of course. He should
Yeah.
still be here for his kids and his wife and his mom and dad and sisters. But you know, there's little parts of me. You have to
You have to
look
tell
them
yourself
good, and you
stuff.
have to say, you know, he never had to have this unbearable heartache.
Mhm.
You know, and you really, yeah, like having a broken heart from this is just, yeah, it's unexplainable. But
Yeah.
okay, I'll talk to him. But yeah, the line we had to make our jokes, and we had to, you know, when we would see certain people, we'd be like, oh my gosh, remember? And like you have
Yeah.
to, you almost you do, you know, looking like at receiving lines in the past, I'm like, man, how are they making it? But like they're making it because you guys are there and you guys are
Yeah.
looking at them saying like your brother was a really amazing person or you're an amazing person, so I'm here for you. And you
Yeah.
know, all of those things just really make you get through that day that you
That
never
day. Well,
could ever get through.
and for me, it was kind of like seeing somebody would flash me back to that age or that, you
Mhm.
know, and so I would have memories that came flooding in, even if it wasn't with them, it would just remind me of like that
Yeah.
time period,
High
you
school
know what I
or
mean?
kids, yeah.
Yeah, and so there, you know, there were happy times, like kind of like good memories that came in. Um, and I feel like in general, like we were talking about this kind of before we got on here, but in general, there's such a thing about death and dying, and you know what I mean? Um, that like in America, we're afraid to kind of talk about stuff like that. And I was telling Michelle, I worked as a caregiver, and I remember we would have like a really elderly client who was like probably going to die soon, and they would make a comment about death or make a joke about death or something like that. And I became really popular with those clients because I'm woo woo, and I'd be like, I would laugh at it because I believe it's a transition. But there would be people who'd say, "Oh, don't talk like that." And in my head, I'm like, "They're freaking like 95. They're probably gonna die soon. Like, why not let them practice?" You know what I mean with that. But anyway, it like, I guess another part of the reason that I kind of wanted to do this is because I'm. This is where I think it's generational. But I will always talk about Eric. You know, I mean, as though he's here, you know, or around or whatever. Now he's up there doing his bullshit with his wings and his car, doing willies with his truck in the clouds. I don't know, but
Oh my
I,
god.
you know, and so it's like we'll always talk about him, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
um,
If you ever question like, oh, I don't want to bring it up. No, there's never a question. You know,
yeah,
he's always there. And like I said, you bringing it up just validates to me that like I am allowed to
to
talk about, yeah, like, or, and to be sad sometimes, and that's okay. And, yeah, I don't know.
mm.
Really.
And one thing that was kind of cool in my case, at least, is that because I had traveled to New Jersey and stayed there for a little while, my circle of friends came in after, you know what I mean? So after a couple months, and that's when, specifically being the sibling, because we did sort of want, I mean, obviously, like I just look at like mom and dad and Carrie and the kids, and you're like, oh my God, I just can't, I don't know that experience. Like, but it's not invalidating ours. But I do feel like my wagons kind of circled around me a couple months after the fact, and that was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's, we just unknowingly put ourselves, you know, seventh, eighth in our own in our own heads, and we weren't fully grieving for
Mhm.
ourselves, and that's normal. Of course, he's an adult, so he has a wife and he has kids, and we have parents who were just mourning their losses, and we're just so sad for all of them that yours comes later, and it comes, and you really do think like that was my life partner, that was my sibling, is my past, my present, and my future. Like he's supposed to be everything. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll be right
it's
there.
fine, Michelle, don't worry about it. I was gonna say too, like there are times when I think, oh man, we should be cracking jokes at the kids' weddings, I mean, it's just stuff like, I even told Zeke, yeah, do you need?
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're good. Oh, you guys are leaving me to my own devices. I think there's a few people here. Well, actually, Michelle doesn't even need to hear this, and I probably told it to her anyway, but I even told Zeke, like, in my life, like I've been divorced. And so with a partner, like you can find another partner, but we'll never have another brother. That's just a role. And that sounds shitty, but it's not meant shitty. You know what I mean? It's meant just honestly, like I can't replace, or I can't, not that somebody could be replaced. You don't get rebrothered. That's all I'm saying, is you don't get rebrothered. God, I feel like I should talk about astrology or tarot or something because I'm by myself. I'm glad you're back.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It was just awkward. I'm like, should I start pulling cards and doing a reading, or like I'm used to being by myself, but not in this context.
No, that's one thing that I did want to say is like, I was never so conscious of like the afterlife. Like I said, we had grandparents, we had uncles who passed, but now it being so close, like the spiritual things that you brought when you came were like, whoa. And it really, really were really there's comforting.
Yeah.
So, and I think he gave us a lot of signs and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was really comforting.
I agree. What was I gonna say? Well, it seems like you might have to go.
It's okay. I sent him away.
Oh, you did? Okay. Okay, cool. Because I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that was yeah, like the spiritual stuff was that, I don't know. That was what I jumped to, and I actually wish I had the deck here. But the very first thing that I did, I mean, it was like literally within like 5 minutes, was I looked at his chart, and I pulled a card. And the card was like really powerful. It was like a little boy putting his hand on a little girl's heart. But that is to say, whatever gets you by, I mean, like a full-on pass for any sort of weird fucking behavior in the week following. You know, a couple of things that I immediately went to is because I have dealt with being suicidal and stuff before. There were a lot of I wish it was me feelings. And you know, I expressed those to people. I wasn't suicidal, nothing like that, you know. But I feel like it's almost kind of like you maybe even like survivor's guilt or something kind, you know.
Yeah, I think that I think that probably almost everybody had that, you know,
Yeah,
I
like, well,
mean, I heard
what do
from,
I bring of value?
yeah, I mean, I've definitely heard, I think probably everybody in the immediate family, mom and dad, I've heard say that. And
Mhm.
I mean, I I know I thought it, you know, like he was the rock. Like I said that the first
Yeah,
post that I made, like he was the rock of the family. He knew how to deal with all of this tough stuff, and he would have been the one handling all of that. And you know, he would
I
have
don't
been
know
the
that
one.
we kind of do we just tell ourselves this, or is it true that if something had happened to one of us, I don't know how he would have handled that. I almost feel
I
like
don't
that would have
know.
been a
Yeah.
crack in his
No, and that's what, like I said about that receiving line. I remember leaving the funeral thinking, like, God, you know, Eric put on a good front, but like he loved home.
I can't hear you again. It's like blah blah blah. Sing the shark song. Baby shark.
You know?
Okay, I hear you now.
I mean, we're just here to look pretty. It's fine.
Yeah, right. So you can't hear me either when I was telling
No.
you to sing the baby shark song. Baby
No.
shark. So anyway, but
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
during okay, right. I don't know if you would have been able to handle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just there were okay, so there were a couple more things that I thought about. So being the sibling, and we are lucky because we all get along really well. I mean, really well. So, but even still, it was sort of hard because we all like we all had our own unique relationship with him, different times, different memories, different, you know, like there literally is stuff that went to the grave with Eric, with,
Yeah.
you know, with all of us. I'm
Yeah, no, you really, you go through like all these things in your head of like your moments with just him too. Like,
Mhm,
and you know, we all have wonderful memories, and the four of
mhm,
us together have a lot of memories, but we all have separate ones as well. And
mhm.
yeah, like, right. I remember thinking, I, you know, him and I will never joke about this story again. When I, you know, just something in particular that I'm thinking about. And, you know, now I just tell you and Jacqueline the stories.
Yeah.
Sure, you guys want to hear them all,
I just
but
sent you a meme today. I was like, I would send this to Eric, so I'm sending it to
you
you
did,
instead.
you did. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's definitely stories that go to the grave, and you know, we are fortunate to have each other.
each
But
other.
we did want to say that when we all finally got together under one state, you know, the three of us, we didn't even know what to say to each other. Like,
Mhm,
you know, you say like, I don't even know what to say. Like, you know, you say that to people who lose somebody. We don't even know what to say.
mhm.
We don't know
We
what to say to our
didn't.
mom and dad, and we don't know what to say to our sister-in-law and the kids. And it was just like, you know, I mean, I think we're just like here to say, however you manage and muddle through is
It's
your way of
good.
doing it. And you know, I don't know.
The, yeah, there's a couple things I just thought of. I had a hard time even looking mom and dad in the eye.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
because they're the grown-ups, and that's where I was saying I felt like a little kid again. Um,
And
and
I
then
think it's almost like, you know, and mom mourns this baby, you
mhm,
know,
that we
we've
don't
had,
even know, yeah.
yeah, we've had babies, so you know, we understand, but like she's mourning her adult 44-year-old son as well, but she's
Mhm,
mourning a baby that she
mhm,
gave birth to. Like it's just I can't you can't imagine what
yeah.
her and dad are feeling. And you know, everybody has their own uh
Different way.
yeah.
The one,
But
I think one thing, and this is like a universal kind of grief thing, but I always try to be very cognizant that there is somebody else who maybe even is a tarot reader, an astrologer, who loses their younger 44-year-old brother that has a wife and 2 kids. And I don't know what it feels like for them.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to be mindful of. So always being like deferential to, I still can't imagine what it's like to be the person, I mean, Eric died suddenly. What is it like to watch somebody suffer and have them die? So I don't know.
I had somebody, who I know whose brother passed away 2 months after Eric. And I will never say and I wrote her a letter, but I will never say, I know exactly what you're going through, because I don't.
Nobody ever does.
She had a different relationship with her brother that I had. Teresa and Jacqueline had a different relationship with. Oh, we can't imagine what each other are feeling, because we're all grieving Eric in a different way. I mean, we're all different people, but we all had different relationships too. And she lost her sibling, but that's something that I won't say. I also, and it's fine, please, it's fine if you say that. I'm not.
Yeah.
And also, I used to say, and I'm sure many people said it, and I never took offense to it, but something that I took from this is to not say be strong, because I think being weak is an option in that time.
It is.
And you're going to be weak and embrace the people that you love, and it's okay to be weak in front of your mom and dad. Some people are like, be strong for your parents, be strong for his wife and his kids, and that it just wasn't always an option. And I think for his kids and his wife and our parents to see us break down is normal. It would look really weird if we were just holding it together. So I that's just 2 things that I don't think I'd say is to be strong, and I know exactly what you're going through, because you don't, and nobody does. We all have different views.
There was darn it, well, there was something I was thinking of. Oh, the most refreshing thing. Okay, so this was the day that it happened. I walked outside and there was a friend of mine, and I was just stunned. And like I said, I was sort of practicing saying it or whatever. And she looked at me. I happen to know this person has been through a lot of their own trauma and experienced loss. And she goes, oh, well, she goes, if you need to come and get a cigarette, if you need somebody to go to the store for you, I'm your girl. She's like, I don't deal good with this stuff. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, thank you for that. You know what I mean? For telling me exactly how you can be available to me, because it was just refreshing. It didn't try to give me a platitude or anything. So sometimes honesty. And the most honest thing that people can say that I think I end up saying a lot is, I don't know what to say. Or I don't know what to do, because it is awkward. For anybody, it's awkward, and that's okay.
You almost, and
hopefully you don't know. Nobody wants a lot of experience in this,
No, I hope that you don't.
Right.
I remember almost feeling avoided. And that was okay, because I would avoid me too.
Right. Right.
I remember going to work and somebody passed away, and you'd almost see them in the hallway, and you're just kind of oh gosh, I don't know if I can go out there right now.
Yeah.
And that's totally normal. And I remember
Michelle, I can't hear you. What the fuck? So anyway, there you are. Are you there?
There you are.
Mom. Okay.
I just remember, walking in the hallway to school, and it was empty. And I was I know I would avoid this too.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And
why am I laughing?
No, it's
I get it.
Yeah. So anyway.
All right. I think we pretty much hit everything. I do kind of want to sum up the do's, like the do things. You were saying people brought food, people, and I feel like do send a message.
Yeah.
Also, I loved going to Eric's Facebook and reading stories from people, because I always wondered, like, even if I only sort of knew somebody, but I had a really great like story about them. I don't know, maybe that's not universal, but for me, I wanted to know every aspect, like every
Yeah,
person we ever
I
talked
remember you and I saying like we were reaching out to all his pool friends and all
Yep.
his work friends, and we
Yep.
wanted to see everybody because we wanted to know the Eric that they, like the work Eric and then the pool Eric, and we were like jumping in every aspect of his
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
You
I'm
didn't
still down for it.
still
Like if
down, yeah.
if like you're watching this and Eric, like it's
Tell me
I
a funny story. Yeah, I want to hear all the stories. But
Mhm.
yeah, we were big on everybody telling us stories.
So I was touched by all of the things that were written on his wall,
Yeah.
And I would go back and I went and I looked for his birthday and just to see like who commented and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I feel like that was a good chat.
Yeah. I don't even know about the don'ts. I
Yeah, well,
don't
no,
not
I
reach
mean, I think
out.
it's
Like
just
I like always reach out. That's what I would say. Like always
always
even
reach out and don't expect anything in return. That's the
yeah.
biggest is, don't,
Yeah.
if you
I
don't
don't think you do.
require.
Yeah, you can't do any nice gesture is
Mhm,
appreciated.
mhm.
Somebody, they won't come home and see flowers and be like, God, why did I get flowers?
Yeah, right.
So anything, like even from somebody like Leo's tutor sent me something and it was just so unexpected and she didn't have to do that, but she had lost her brother
See,
and she knew
mhm.
she knew that sending something, she probably knew how
It
you
would feel
feel.
good.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And the other thing too is that this goes on for a while. You know what I mean? So sometimes there are like getting back into work. Like I still get I don't sometimes people are busy. This is just a general thing, but there's a meme or something that's like, well, if you can't answer my text or whatever,
Oh,
and I'm like,
I hate that.
fucking life isn't like that. Like sometimes people have their own shit going on too. And so sometimes, can you hear me? You froze. Hello. Oh, there you are.
There you are.
You froze. Anyway, basically, like sometimes I'm sorry, but when you get like 15 to 20 text messages, like, yeah, it is a lot to like sit and respond to people. And that's even if they don't have like a trauma thing in their life. That's just a personal bone to pick that I have. Like if somebody's not responding to you, it doesn't mean that they're sitting on their couch being like, I'm gonna ignore so and so.
Listen, all of my friends have like a running joke. They'll tag me in anything like that, all of them, because they all know that I like read things and then, respond like a week later or like sometimes a month later, whatever. I still love them all. I don't not like any of my friends,
Yeah.
but.
All right. So I think this is a wrap. And I just this had to be like Eric joking in my head, saying happy birthday to me, which we're not gonna do. But I just want to write a little incense and
Okay.
just honor him
I
for a
don't think
sec.
anybody wants to hear me sing, so.
I know that, yeah, if it was him, he was fucking with us. Because I'm not doing that. But anyway, I'm burning some sage. Just blessings to us, to Eric. Thank you for sharing the space with us if you're here. Also for anybody else who has lost a sibling. Oh, my friend Katie just commented, and I know she lost her brother. Thank you, Katie, for being here. So anyway, I love you, Michelle.
I love you too.
And I love you guys. Thanks for watching.
All right, Trey.
All right. Bye. Go pay attention to your kids.
I'll call you in a minute from the house phone.
Yeah, give me a shout. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.